Okay. Hello, hello. Uh, Today there are some interesting things happening, but I'm not going to cover all those. I'm going to cover one very specific thing. The reason that I'm making this video is because I was having a conversation yesterday about Democratic leadership, and I felt like it was important to kind of have more to have a space or to take some time and really go in depth with what my problems and concerns are with Democratic leadership and why I believe they are completely and totally incapable of meeting the moment in which we find ourselves, where President Trump is increasingly consolidating power amongst our institutions. He is destroying guardrails, and he is impeding and completely excluding the ability for anyone to take the power back from him. And Donald Trump doesn't need to be alive for this to be dangerous. Donald Trump could die tomorrow, and every single thing he's doing is just as dangerous as if he didn't. As a matter of fact, it's most likely more dangerous because when you give somebody power for life, when they die, the younger they are, the more scary that is. And Donald Trump, if I had to guess, may not make it to the end of his term. So I mean, we have somebody like JD Vance just in charge. Not a great idea. Not a great thing. So I think you really need to oppose it in this time. I think it's important to be a good leader in this time. I think it's important to have strategy that meets the moment and have communication that meets the moment, to have policy that meets the moment. Ultimately, you got to meet the moment. It's not an option. It's not something that you get to think about. It is your requirement as an elected official. So Hakeem Jeffries, he is the leader of the House of Representatives, which is headed by Republicans. Democrats have a minority, 217 seats, just a bare minority, one seat away from not having a minority anymore. Or I think they tie it to 18. I'm actually not 100% sure. Regardless, Hakeem Jeffries is a great example of what a piss poor leader looks like. I mean, just embarrassing. Only person worse than Jeffries is Chuck Schumer, because Chuck Schumer, my guy. We're not even going to get into it. I don't have the time. But I'm going to read Hakeem Jeffries' remarks as he left a meeting with President Trump and Republicans, I believe yesterday, could be 2 days ago now. And he really moved the room, you could say, with his I mean, they were bad. They were bad, uninspiring, pathetic. There are lots of words for it, but his remarks were not, they weren't meeting the moment. So I'm going to go over those, and I'm going to go over an alternative, a different way that maybe somebody with a little bit more care for the American people and what they're going through, or, I mean, I don't know, for politics, for power, for literally anything. I really can't find a reason that Jeffries is so bad at this, except for the fact that he wants to protect his relationships with donors. But even then, it's very silly. Anyways, though, Jeffries begins outside of the White House. There was a frank and direct discussion with the President of the United States and Republican leaders, but significant and meaningful differences remain. Democrats are fighting to protect the health care of the American people, and we are not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of everyday Americans, period, full stop. There's a Republican-caused healthcare crisis that is causing hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health clinics all across the country, in rural America, urban America, small-town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities throughout this country. And that crisis is happening right now. That's why we believe there's urgency to both keeping the government open, reaching a bipartisan spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, their economic well-being, their quality of life, while also addressing the dangerous Republican healthcare crisis. After Jeffries delivers this part, Chuck Schumer speaks as well, and then Jeffries adds in once Chuck Schumer's done speaking. I only want to add that so that this next part is supposed to be, this is a Jeffries moment to really save the day, to really say, okay, you know what, guys, maybe I didn't do my best, I've had some time to think, to reflect. This is what I want my final message to the American people to be in this context, at least, he really never runs out of opportunities to message to the American people, something I wish he acted like. But Jeffries continues. We're deadly serious about addressing the Republican-caused healthcare crisis because it's a deadly serious issue for the American people. Largest cut to Medicaid in American history, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics closing right now. The fact that more than 20 million Americans are on the brink of experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles because of the Republican refusal to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits, which benefit working-class Americans. And we pointed that out. I pointed it out. Working-class Americans, their health care. That's what we're fighting to preserve and to strengthen. Those are Jeffries' remarks. Now, issues with Jeffries' remarks, I can find so many, and I really don't think it's worth it going over them all. I think the video speaks for itself. I think this transcript speaks for itself. Because, again, we are having a government shutdown. I actually don't know if I covered this. We're having a government shutdown. The government is shutting down because that's the nature of the way the government is funded. They generally fund it for shorter periods of time, 8 months, 9 months, 3 months, 7 months, whatever it may be. Right now, the end of the current government funding is approaching. And this is the point in time where opposition parties generally will leverage the power that they do have in the legislature to get favorable outcomes in terms of just getting some sort of concession on key policy priorities, things like that. And that's what the Democrats say. Hey, well, how about this? How about you don't make everything so much worse for so many people? Is that like cool? Can we like get down with that? They're not asking for like, I don't know, a gay military, put the rainbow flag on every helmet in the Marines or something. It's like it's a very simple ask, and it's almost a pathetic ask, but that's a whole different issue. But the point here, the issue here with Jeffries and his messaging is that government shutdowns are unpopular because the federal government is very important, and you really do notice that when the federal government stops existing. And so what Jeffries is hoping that we can get out of this situation is a moment where the American people go, Donald Trump, open the government back up, stop being a bitch, negotiate with the Democrats, extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies, anything like that. That's all the Democrats are looking for. Something very, very basic, very simple. So how would you get that? How would you get the American people to say, hey, Donald Trump, you are responsible for this. You need to fix this. Well, first of all, maybe Jeffries should say that. I don't know. I think maybe it would have been great if Jeffries said, Donald Trump cares more about taking away your health care than he does about keeping your government open. I think that's a pretty good argument, especially because that's exactly what's happening. Donald Trump does care more about taking away your health care than keeping the government open. I don't know. Maybe that would work. But, there are a number of things. I mean, in addition to that, he calls it a Republican-caused healthcare crisis. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Republican-caused healthcare crisis. That's too many goddamn C's. Too many C's. Why would you put that many C's back to back? You think an old 70-year-old lady's in a bag, there's a Republican, but she's going to get a stroke and die. She's going to get a stroke and die trying to articulate what leader Jeffries wants to communicate to the Democratic public. Why? Why can't you just say Republican healthcare disaster? They're going to destroy your healthcare. They're trying to steal your healthcare. They're destroying anything. It doesn't need to have some little rhythm to it or whatever. I don't know what's wrong with his staffers, whoever's writing his speeches, and if it's him, and I think it might be Mr. Apoc Shakur, who thinks he can rap, and so I guess he likes to flex the pen. But maybe he could work for Hamilton. Maybe that's like the only place he could go. Anyways, please let me digress and get back to the point of the video. I've prepared an alternative statement, and the point of this statement isn't because I'm Jesus, I'm so good at politics. The point of the statement is to just show what like a little bit of effort looks like in terms of let me make a speech that first of all makes it clear that Donald Trump has the option between taking away your healthcare or taking away your healthcare or keeping the government open. He can't do both. So if Donald Trump wants to keep the government open, he can't take away your healthcare. If Donald Trump wants to take away your healthcare, he can't keep the government open. And Donald Trump, the coward bastard that he is going to choose to take away your healthcare. Isn't that something? Now, here are the remarks that I prepared. That's something that I think is more becoming of the type of political moment that we are in. After this meeting with the president and top Republicans, it is clear that they don't take the American people or their concerns seriously. Democrats are simply demanding that President Trump extends Obamacare insurance subsidies instead of forcing millions of people off their health care. Our party will not vote on any Republican bill that fails to protect the American people from these even more expenses at a time when they can barely afford anything as it is, with groceries at record highs, with rent at record highs. The Republican bill will cause a healthcare disaster. This Republican bill will cause a healthcare disaster. The Republicans are going to cause a healthcare disaster and force hospitals all over the country to close. I suppose Trump believes that fewer hospitals make America great again, huh? He must believe that millions of Americans are being forced off of their health care. That's how you make America great again. Democrats do not. Democrats believe in keeping the government open, but not at the expense of working people. We will not abandon working people just because Donald Trump wants us to. And we hope the president will come to his senses and join us at the negotiating table. Because this Trump shutdown and this Republican healthcare disaster, they can both be avoided if the president and his Republican cronies in Congress, people who do nothing but listen to what the president says, they choose to put the American people before politics for just one time. For just one time, we can keep the government open. People can keep their health care. We do not have to plunge even further into the nonsense, into the chaos that he's created. The whole point of my prepared statement there was to make you mad at Republicans. Because what the fuck else should I be doing when I'm trying to shut down the government and not get blamed for it? I need to explain that the option for why we're shutting down the government is because they wanted to steal your health care. Jeffries, resign. resign. You're not built for this. You're not built for this. I am a fourth year poli-sci major. Fourth year. I'm 21 years old. There's no reason. There is no reason I should be better at this than you. There isn't. And fine. You can disagree whether or not I'm better at being Speaker of the House of Representatives previously. Well, actually, was he? Yeah, he was at the. Anyways, better at being the leader of the Democratic caucus, right? But at the very least, my remarks that it took me about 45 seconds to prepare are significantly better than his word salad nonsense. I mean, the Republican caused healthcare. What the fuck is that, dude? Why would you even separate the Republican from the healthcare crisis? You know what that's called? That's called trying to lose. It's called trying to lose. And excuse me, I'm getting upset. I really am. I'm getting upset for a simple reason. It's because this is my future. This is my future, and this is not a world that I want. This is not a world that I deserve. Because quite frankly, I personally could secure a world better than this if somebody just gave me the goddamn keys to the kingdom, the way they did for Hakeem Jeffries, despite the fact that he has the charisma of a goddamn doormat. But here we are. This is our position. This is our situation. Ultimately, Democratic leadership is failed, catastrophically so. It is inept. It is corrupt. It is embarrassing. It is unbecoming of not only Democrats as a party historically, but Democrats in terms of their constituents, because these people don't believe in any damn thing. And you know why Jeffries couldn't list off any of the things, couldn't even pretend to give a damn? It's because he doesn't care either. It's because he doesn't care either. So if you have an option between somebody who doesn't care and treats you like a dumbass and has nothing to say to convince you even that he cares, versus somebody who goes, we love the American people, we're going to give them health care and everything, I love health care. I mean, the man, he doesn't give a shit what he says, Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump will just say it. And why will Donald Trump say it? Because he knows that people will like it. Democrats seem to, when dealing with somebody who will lie about everything that he's doing, believe that the best strategy is to never say that he's a liar and to not offer anything else. The stupidest shit I've ever heard. And if it gets us all killed, which there's a very, very, very real chance that it does so, I hope history remembers not only the cowardice, but the ineptitude, but the embarrassing stupidity of what this party has become, of what this party allowed to be our leadership at a time like this, at a time so important for the country.